by removing the starter. Do our spark plug boot. Then you want to undo your wiring harness that goes up to your fuel solenoid and choke switch. We'll do that. I think it's easier to do it after you get the coil off. And you just want to be really careful with these wires and inspect them while you're doing this. Sometimes helps to get a big flat bladed screwdriver and just a little very gentle coercion there. These things are on there pretty good. And there's our let's see if it'll focus, 4700. That's version 1. Now we'll get our version 2 coil, or excuse me, version 3. There's our version 3. 4702. And then I like to use a little bit of this dielectric grease. And just put a tiny dab right there. Go ahead and put this dab way back up. Here it snap. And then the book calls for 8 thousandths. So what you want to shim it to. And then I use a tiny dab of, tiny dab of red Loctite on the threads. I've had customers bring me saws in the past and, oh, it's locked up. Yeah, it's not locked up. Well, it is, but not in a bad way. coil comes loose and jams the flywheel. And we will put our 8th thou shim in there. Rotate this guy around. And then remember to take your shim out. I've forgotten that before. Ask me how I know. Alright. I put a little dielectric grease on top of that spark plug. A little bit in the boot. Just makes it easier to get off next time. Really gotta jam these in here. Part's done. Now I'll get you guys set up over here on the carb. Here, I already took the baffle off. Connect your throttle linkage in there. Pop this off. Gotta pop that off because where you hook your diagnostics tool in, it kind of sits in this little recess here. It won't let you pull the carb out. We will disconnect our fuel line. It'll probably go squirting everywhere. Yep. Plug that. Blow all that fuel out of there. Ready to pull the carb. Watch your wires. And usually it'll, if you have your choke lever down, you can kind of set it in there like that. Then trailer Torx bit. I think it's a T20. This stuff here, because it's so delicate, I don't use the drill. And this is the WJ, I think WJ 134 carb. Now apparently there's a 140 out, and I haven't seen one yet. I'm not really sure if there's any differences. Somebody knows, let me know. I'd like to, always like to learn stuff. Dang it, I said it would sit in there, and I'm sitting there. You'd be surprised how small diameter these wires are. You gotta be careful. And then here's your fuel solenoid, and I think that's an even smaller screw yet. T15. Yep. It's a T10. Want to be, I mean, we're not, it's still a good solenoid, but we're not going to reuse it unless we have to. Just make sure you got that clean and dry. I just had gas coming out of it, so it's use paper towel, twist around there, clean that bore up, and then just inspect your mating surfaces good. Make sure there's no scratches, nicks, or anything. And then as far as your solenoid, I use a pair of these 90-degree needle nose. Grab a hold of this here and just gently wiggle it. It'll come off of there. Now we get our white solenoid. And the difference is, let's see if this thing will pick that up. See that black O-ring on the top of the white one, and it's got that pink one, and this one, it just has that one O-ring, and plastic metal inside there. So they're having trouble with, focus, it not sealing properly and dirt getting down in there, and then the plastic, I guess, warping and stuff. So this, and they don't run right, and this, I usually won't even start, but the white one fixes all that. And as far as I know, like I know they said you can't use a white one with version 1, but you can. You just recalibrate it. Apparently there's a green one out, but never seen one. And then same deal, I just put a little bit of dielectric grease on there. And then just put a tiny bit, use dielectric grease on your O-rings. Yeah, I mean, they say you gotta buy the Stihl stuff. No, you don't. Same thing. And then just be very careful seating that, and there it goes, it's seated. We'll put our hold down tab back on there. Snug it. We'll plug our harness back in there. Run our wires back through our choke switch housing. And don't pull on these wires. Get them down in that little groove. Get something pointy, and obviously don't poke through the insulation of the wiring. But just seat them down in there. You get pulling on this stuff. I'm telling you, these wires are tiny. You'll break one. And then should sit down on there. Like so. I hold it with one finger right there. Drop your screws in. Get them started. Tighten her down. You don't gotta get crazy tight, you'll crack that plastic choke switch housing. And then you just slide your car back on, and then there's, if you guys ever do this, you'll see there's little like wire looms that all your wires go in. Just pay attention to how you take it apart, and you'll see. And same deal, just gently seat them back in there and don't poke through the insulation. Just like that. And we'll hook our throttle back up. Our fuel line. Still a little bit of gas pulled up in there. Double check everything. And I like to go ahead and make sure all this works. It does. Throw this back on. Now I'm gonna have this apart again for when I poured it, but I know still filtration sucks, but there's stuff you can do to combat it. One, there's max flow air filters suck unless you clean them every single day, every single night, and that's a chore. I mean, you gotta wring them out, dry them out, re-oil them. These filters here work to keep them clean. You can, knock them out gently and blow them out, and then if they get real bad, you can actually soak these in soapy water, and they work. But what I do which I'm not going to do it right now. I will when I assemble it, after I poured it. Just put a light film of grease around this seal. Put this cover, I actually just use red RTV, a light film, and that's the two main spots I always see dirt get past these. Not so much like where the carb meets the intake boot, that's usually seals good, but it's those two spots here and there, and you do that, I've never seen one tiny microscopic speck past it, and it's much easier than cleaning those max flow things that I don't see gains from at all. I don't. If you use them, that's fine, personal preference, but personally, yeah, I don't like them. And then after we're doing this stock, like just muffler molded, but I pull these out. I don't run this ring right here seals around this surface, so you don't need this. I find they run better without it after you poured them, but like I said, we'll put it on there because it's stock purposes. And don't forget your side cover here. I always forget how these things go. Let me walk around you here. This guy back on there. And there you go, there's version 3 installed. Now we'll take it out and make some cuts with it and see if it's any different. I'm going to go by the very last cut on version 1 is what I'm going to go by time, and then we're going to do the same with this. The last cut would be self-feeding from the same side, or just self-feeding, and we'll time it, see what it is. Same bar and chain. One last thing I forgot to tell you guys, you got to install this fuel filter the kit comes with. Apparently that solenoid hair there is a smaller micron rating, so this filter is a smaller micron also. If you have the version 1 filter in there, it'll let fines through it, I guess, and it'll get in that solenoid and screw it up. But put that